I'm calling in the creator to the CEO who crave creating community and cash to create it like a boss. With me, Katrina Julia, as your host, multi-passionate entrepreneur, creator, and CEO who has walked from fear to faith, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, and continues to, with experience in 7+ industries, 7,000 plus creators and startups, to creators to Fortune 500 brands, including Google, NBC, Victoria's Secret, and more. If you are ready to create it like never before, in faith, wellness, wealth, marketing, business, travel, and more, this is the show for you. If this is your time to have freedom in all forms as you create it like a boss, let's create it. Exploring Egypt, ancient wonder, pyramids, and a photo shoot. Imagining exploring Egypt, the ancient wonder, and the Red Sea, you are not the only one, friend. I visited Egypt for the first time after grad school. I didn't get to go to the pyramids because of a tourist scare during our mother-daughter trip. I promised myself I would return to Egypt. It is said those that drink from the Nile return to drink from it. I returned to Egypt for a month in 2024 between Hurghada and the Red Sea, Luxor, and Cairo and Giza. Someone pinch me. This is years in the making. Side note, if you haven't checked out my top 10 things to do all around the world, definitely check those out on the blog, on the show, on my YouTube channel. And I will be sharing that coming up soon with my top 10 things to do in Egypt. On February 23rd, 2024, on a Friday, my fun Fridays, if you know that I have implemented in 2024 fun Fridays where I unplug, do something fun, and encourage you to create it too. So on Friday, aka my fun Friday for February 23rd, 2024, during my travel to 7 continents, I woke up and visited the pyramids, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. I kept feeling and saying to myself, wow, I get to do this today. I got to do this today. I wanted to commemorate visiting my first ancient wonder and such a majestic wonder in a special way. After researching various choices through Get Your Guide, through TripAdvisor, through Airbnb, from taking tours to going on a overnight trip from Hurghada to doing strictly a tour expedition through the pyramids, through the museums, through the markets, I discovered and decided to go with Egypt Eye with pyramids and a photo shoot via Airbnb experiences. And I am so glad that I did. If you want to see the actual pictures and photo shoots, definitely check out the blog post that's linked in the show notes because you will see me at the pyramids and a photo shoot. I am literally pinching myself and in so much gratitude. So let's talk about Cairo and Egypt and Giza. Cairo and Giza are 2 bustling cities in Egypt. Side note, this part was written from ChatGPT. In the past, when I used to do this, I used to research and find different things from different sites versus now ChatGPT makes things so much easier and faster. If you know, you know, and that's another pro tip as a creator CEO, as your creator CEO bestie. So Cairo and Giza are 2 bustling cities in Egypt and home to one of the most iconic and unfathomable symbols of ancient civilization, the pyramids of Giza. Situated on the outskirts of Cairo, the Giza necropolis encompasses the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Pyramid of Khafre, the Pyramid of Menkaure, and the Great Sphinx, among other structures. There's actually 9 pyramids. These colossal monuments were built during the 4th dynasty of the Old Kingdom of Egypt around 2580 to 2560 BC as elaborate tombs for pharaohs and symbols of their divine power and eternal afterlife. Side note, if you haven't checked out my Bible at the Beach series on my YouTube channel, I definitely recommend you do, because there is so much overlap with Egypt, with the Bible, going back to Abram and Sarai, then of course Abraham and Sarah once they have their new names, Joseph, 400 years, the feast and the famine, so many different things. The Great Pyramid of Giza, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the largest and most famous of the 3 pyramids, standing at a height of 138.8 meters, 455 feet. It held the title of the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years, you guys. The pyramids of Giza, along with the Sphinx, are revered as architecture marvels still to this day and are designated as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, a testament to their enduring legacy and cultural significance. Literally, each piece weighs tons, and how they ended up transporting it from Aswan on ships to the Giza Plateau, to the Giza complex, is still a topic of marvel and wonder. This is me talking, not the AI. Today, they continue to awe and inspire visitors from all around the world, including me, myself, and I, aka yours truly, offering a glimpse into the grandeur and magic and mystique of ancient Egypt's monumental achievements. I not only dreamed about visiting the pyramids, Egypt's ancient wonder of the world, I real lifed it. The 7 wonders of the ancient world were a list of remarkable constructions of classical antiquity compiled by various ancient Greek writers. In case you are curious, these wonders were considered marvels of architecture, engineering, and craftsmanship, and served as a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of ancient civilizations. So, what do the 7 ancient wonders of the world include? They include the Great Pyramids of Giza. They include the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, which are in near present day Baghdad, Iraq, this statue of Zeus at Olympia, which is in Olympia, Greece, and is considered one of the greatest achievements of classical Greek art. The Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, which I visited on a cruise with my parents after my brother's wedding. It's in present-day Turkey. It was dedicated to the goddess Artemis and was one of the largest temples of the ancient world. It was constructed in 6th century BC, and it was renowned for its grandeur and its beauty. The mausoleum at Halikarnassus, which is in near modern day Turkey, and the Colossus of Rhodes. It is in the harbor. It's a huge statue in the harbor of the Greek island of Rhodos. And then the lighthouse of Alexandria, also known as the Pharos Alexandria, which is also in Egypt. And I still want to go back to Egypt to visit Alexandria, to visit Mount Sinai, to visit Dohab and go diving there. And today I have visited now 2 of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. So the Great Pyramid of Giza was the only wonder of the ancient world located in Egypt and was included on the list due to its sheer size, architectural significance, and cultural importance. It is actually my second. On the blog post, I wrote my first, but I just realized as I was talking about this, I was like, wait a minute, I've gone to the Temple of Artemis. And then out of the new wonders of the world, you can find that on my episode about Chichen Itza and on my blog post via travel, and or you can just put in Chichen Itza. I have visited several of the new wonders of the world, including Chichen Itza, including the Roman Colosseum, including, let's see, because I'm going back to the list right now. Okay, so Ah, so including, I mentioned the Colosseum, I mentioned Chichen Itza, that's 2. Then Taj Mahal is 3. I was contemplating integrating Petra on this trip, but it didn't happen as far as me leaving Egypt, going to Thailand. I'm actually recording this in Thailand. So on my list is still the Great Wall of China, Petra, Machu Picchu, and Christ the Redeemer. And then, interestingly, the Giza pyramids was also given honorary status as a wonder, as a new wonder of the world as well. So, fun fact, in case you're curious or you love that kind of thing as well. So, they are nestled on the outskirts of Cairo in Giza. And I recommend it when you visit Cairo, I recommend staying in Giza. I stayed in an incredible Airbnb at Pyramids Icon. George, the owner, is incredible with a comfortable, it's separate rooms in a building with a comfortable bed, delicious breakfast, jacuzzi, and unfathomable views of the pyramids. I was literally pinching myself. And if you're like me, the main reason you're going to Cairo is to visit the pyramids, and then you're closer. And Cairo can be overwhelming with traffic and different things. And I'll talk a bit about my experience with the pyramids and the photo shoot in just a second. So, as I shared, built over 4,500 years ago, these structures captivate to this day the imagination of people globally. And experiencing them and looking at them as I came in the morning from Hurghada at sunrise, as I looked out of my window over several days. I came into Cairo Thursday morning. So I was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I left Saturday through Abu Dhabi. And beyond that, I ended up also visiting the Cairo, the EMC, the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, as well as the Museum of Civilizations, where the real mummies are housed. It was a complete trip seeing Ramses and Hatshepsut in their mummified form. I'll talk more about that in my top 10 things to do in Egypt. And then I ended up going to the Han Halili market. So when I arrived the first day, I ended up going to my Airbnb just at a glance when I arrived my first day in Cairo, coming from Hurghada. Then I experienced the incredible jacuzzi. I ended up then going to the Mina House, the Marriott Mina House. It has incredible views, you guys, of the pyramids. Definitely check out my breakfast view video on my YouTube channel. And that's also going to be featured in my top 10 things to do. Then I ended up taking an Uber. Uber's super simple, super easy to take. And in fact, I highly recommend it in Cairo over taxis because that way you don't have to negotiate. It's easy. So then I took an Uber from the Mina House to the Egyptian Museum. I got there around 10, 11-ish in the morning, noonish. Oh, side note, you guys, the Mina House, they spoiled me and treated me like a queen. I'm definitely going to talk about that in my top 10 things to do. And I highlight it in my video. And also be featuring a reel I already shared on my stories. It's a breakfast, like a buffet with like special things to order with the chef. I met the chef. He treated me to all these other extra things beyond like the omelet, the falafel, a cousin of a falafel. The day that I came, the views of the pyramids were perfect. It was like a blue sky, clear, amazing. And then I ended up taking an Uber to the museum, stayed a couple hours, and then I took an Uber to Khan Khalili Market and walked around. And it's definitely a trip, and that's also on my YouTube channel in a video. Just from the negotiating to the yelling at me like, "Hey, Shakira, Shakira," it's hilarious. Like some people find different things in different countries annoying, but honestly, like I get captivated by different cultures and just different customs and different ways of being, and I just had a great time. Like for the most part, I had a great time at the market. With different vendors and different people just laughing and capturing them on camera. one guy, just one out of the like 20 plus I interacted with, ended up like, taking me to like different, a couple different markets. And then when I didn't want to buy a specific dress because I didn't like it and it was too long, and then he wanted to like sell me some other stuff that I wasn't interested in because I didn't like the colors. He ended up getting kind of mad and like, not kind of, he got mad. And so, I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, everything else was great. But, just so just like revel, enjoy it, laugh at it. And if something doesn't align for you, like walk away, and don't be afraid to walk away and not entertain, different things. Um, so yes, I highly recommend George's Airbnb and just being. Oh, and then I took an Airbnb back from Han Halili to his. I take an Uber back from Han Halili to the Airbnb, and be prepared in Cairo, and especially going between Cairo and Egypt, like traffic and different things, because it is a city of 20, 30 plus million people. Keep in mind. And then the next day I spent with the pyramids, with the photo shoot, with the Museum of Civilizations, and then an incredible Nile cruise with Mohammed via Airbnb experiences. And I'll definitely be featuring that in my top 10 things to do as well. So, my experience with Airbnb was an all Giza historic sites with Egyptologists and a pyramids photo shoot, with discovering Egypt Eye and via Airbnb experiences with Bishoy and Yusuf, which was my content creator slash driver slash photographer, and Mina, which was my Egyptologist. I decided this would be the most magical way to memorialize my experience with, the pyramids, with a Egyptologist, with a photo shoot at the pyramids, and a visit to the museum. I encountered extreme experience about Egyptology off the top of his head with Mina, my Egyptologist guide, and Yusuf, who did my photo shoot, was incredibly kind and nice. Mina's English was excellent, which I imagined, of course, with a guide. And many times when I travel the world, I don't necessarily do tours or experiences, but a lot of times, sometimes I'll do solo, but sometimes I do for the extra knowledge, interaction, community, which is one of my 7 core values. Yusuf spoke okay English, much better than my Arabic. I know a couple words, but not as fluent as Mina. But Mina was there to help translate or like answer anything that Yusuf wasn't familiar with or didn't understand. And he was super nice and kind, and his photography is amazing. I got featured on the Egypt Eye Instagram page, which you can also check out, and I'll also link in my blog post, and it's Egypt underscore EYE underscore as well. So you can see mine there too. And then I do have a full video of the pyramids and the photo shoot behind the scenes on my YouTube channel and embedded in the blog post as well. And we started off at the Great Pyramids, followed by a camel ride to the Giza Plateau for my photo shoot, with a direct behind the scenes view of the pyramids. And just incredible, you guys. My camel Snoopy, and the boy that helped, Omar, were amazing. And then followed by a visit to the National Egyptian Museum of Civilizations. If you end up doing this experience, I definitely recommend that you pre-book the day before with Pyramid 9, which is an incredible Bedouin restaurant you can eat inside the pyramids, and let your guides and the Airbnb team know that you've already pre-booked it, etc. Because we had some confusion on the logistics with our lunch, because I let them know in advance, and I didn't realize that the lunch was an added cost beyond the tour. And then the place didn't really have a lot of vegetarian options, and the view was like nowhere near what I had experienced the day before at Mina House. And had I had realized, because sometimes like I fully trust in the experience and the tour provider, but then sometimes I discover that I get to have a little bit more involvement. And just as a side note, like, like I saw the pictures of the views from Pyramid 9, and if I go again with family, with my future love, or just in general to visit Alexandria, I would definitely go inside the plateau again and pay again, because you do have to pay to enter in the plateau, the Giza Plateau and the Pyramid Plateau, to go to Pyramid 9. But the views, like you literally see all 9 pyramids from that restaurant. So just as a pro tip as well. And so the Great Pyramids of Giza, at the heart of the Giza necropolis is the Great Pyramid of Giza, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu. And let's see. I mentioned that earlier. Okay. So, 7 wonders of the world. I was scrolling back up to tell you all about that. And then I mentioned, okay, so the Great Pyramid of Giza is constructed using millions of limestone blocks, and its interior chambers, including the King's Chamber and the Grand Gallery, continue to intrigue historians and archaeologists, offering clues to the pyramid's purpose and construction techniques. The pyramid complex is accompanied by the Great Pyramid and 2 other magnificent structures. And these pyramids, built for pharaohs Khafre and Menkaure respectively, form part of the larger pyramid complex at Giza. And surrounding the pyramids are various mortuary temples, causeways, and smaller pyramids, like I just talked about, the Pyramid 9, creating a sprawling necropolis that served as the burial ground for Egyptian ancient rulers. And the precision with which these structures are aligned with the stars and the Nile River speaks astronomically, pun intended, to the astronomical and spiritual significance attributed to them by the ancient Egyptians. Guarding the ancient to the pyramid complex, and we visited the Great Sphinx last, and of course I got my Sphinx kiss, is a colossal limestone statue with the body of a lion and the face of a pharaoh, commonly believed to represent Pharaoh Khafre. And again, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that. Carved from the single limestone block, the Sphinx is one of the largest and oldest statues in the world, standing as a silent sentinel. I love that word. Overlooking the sands of time. Its purpose and symbolism have sparked countless theories and interpretations, adding to the allure and mystery of the Giza Plateau. And despite the passage of millennia, the pyramids of Giza remain the sole survivors of the illustrious list given by the ancient Greek scholars to showcase the most remarkable feats of the human creativity and engineering. So some of the ancient wonders, depending on what's left or not left, these are the like most survived and celebrated and visited. They continue to attract visitors globally, drawn by their mystique, their magic, and historical significance. Guided tours, camel rides, and sounds and light shows offer immersive experiences. Side note, you guys, I recommend you do not invest in a light show. You can basically find a rooftop restaurant nearby, and or go to Mina House and watch from there. And the sound isn't that great, and more you're looking at as is the lights, unless that's something that's completely on your list, have at it. The best time to visit pyramids, it really depends. On every blog I read, some people said, go during the week or early in the morning for 2 great reasons. Because you can get there before the crowds. It's not as hot depending on what time of year you go. When I was there now, in February, it was great. Like I was there around 9. The only thing I would recommend is if you can, don't go on a Friday. I went on a Friday and it was extra crowded with kids because kids go on field trips on Fridays from all around Egypt. So had I had known, I actually would have flip-flopped my days, meaning I would have arrived in, Cairo on Thursday, got ready, gone on my photo shoot, and gone on my, experience with the pyramids and the museum, and then gone to the Cairo Egyptian Museum, gone to Mina House the next day, Cairo Egyptian Museum, and the bazaar the next day. So that's just another tip if you can arrange your travel, depending on how you travel. So pyramid visit solo or not. So as I shared, many times I opt to go solo, and I definitely contemplated that with the pyramids. But then when I found this incredible photo shoot option, and you can definitely see more of my photos on the blog post and the link in the show notes, I ended up doing that. It was, I actually ended up being gifted the experience. So big shout out and super grateful. Other than I did pay for my entrance into the Egyptian museum, and which was, I think, roughly about of the civilizations. I think it was roughly like $7-8, and then 540 EGP for the plateau and the pyramid complex, which was about $15 ish. Otherwise, the experience would have been roughly about $80, just as a side note. Depending on how their pricing structure is now, if you would have gotten the experience plus the camel plus lunch, actually it would be 100. But I recommended, like, instead of doing add-ons, just make it a flat rate and include everything. Even include the entrance fee, because it makes it like all inclusive. Or only, like, the only thing we're left to pay is the entrance. But for me, I always recommend to people, like, just make it all inclusive, make it a no-brainer. Like, we don't have to pull out any money the whole time other than tips. So I'm definitely grateful that I ended up doing this from so many different angles. And depending on the type of tour, whether it's a pyramid and or pyramids in a photo shoot experience you decide to do, the ones I looked at ranged from, $45 to $150. And even the $45 ones were all day tours. They included pyramids. They included the Egyptian museum. They included the bazaar as well. Just as a side note, like, I found tourism and tours extremely budget friendly in Egypt as well. And largely that's due to, of course, the cost of living and the economics and different things in Egypt. And even though, of course, tourism and different things are priced higher than they are for locals, it's still extremely affordable compared to, experience like this. If it was in the US, easily would probably cost, simply $100 or $200 just for entering, the pyramids. So you keep that in mind. Visiting an ancient seven wonder of the world is unfathomable. I am so grateful to have visited Egypt for a month in February 2024, and the pyramids for, the 3 days that I got to lay eyes on them consistently. It is magical and mystical, and memories of a lifetime that you will never, ever, ever forget. I definitely rate Giza pyramids and a photo shoot as a must-see do in Egypt. So if you continue to be curious about Egypt, definitely stay tuned for my top 10 things to do in Egypt. I will likely have some other goodies on Creator CEO snapshots and or events. Actually, no, I'll do that after, but I will potentially have Creator CEO opportunities right before and or right after the top 10 things to do. So remember, create, transform, and inspire. You are born to. Leave a review on the show. Shout me out. Let me know if you're planning on exploring Egypt. I would love to know. And let's create it. All the free chats on faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel, so you create a life and business already. Head on over to the blog, the podcast, and the freebies to jumpstart your transformation. If you're ready to dive into the online courses, the live events, or the retreat, and if you want to create with our community on an even deeper level, definitely check out our internships, our influencer collaborations, management, and brand engagements. Let's create it.